for first reading.
And it just, in number 6, should there be a slash, town seal may be used in/to support, or in,
I think I had actually deleted in my draft.
is that right?
Maybe the word that's unnecessary.
Right, used to support,
Yeah, take out the word in.
think of the word in.
Support, right. Yeah, that reads much better.
All right.
And it's, I don't know if we missed Bob's point in our discussion, but do we want to include something somewhere in one of these points about pre-existing fundraising efforts as well as new fundraising
I
efforts?
thought that was covered
Covered?
here.
Yeah, this will,
It says, notice in 7, notice
Yeah.
of regular or ongoing fundraising or donation
Okay.
activities
Yeah, it's
shall be
covered,
given.
yeah.
Yeah, that covers the,
Okay, first reading, motion
okay, I'll move to approve
is amended.
as amended, first reading.
second that.
Motion by Mr. Lino, second by Mr. O'Leary, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No.
Nope.
No. Oh,
I still don't like number 7.
what
I
am
don't like number 7.
second reading, why don't you look at that paragraph at the back of the proposal? October town meeting warrant articles. Now we have a list from the town administrator.
I would ask you to refer to the new list that was in your packet tonight. In the salmon colored paper labeled number 11.
Let's see, which one's which?
It's A through N is in
Where
Nancy.
are we? Ah, is they both marked number 11?
N was the new one.
Okay, got it.
The receipt of articles from the departments and from the public ended at 4 p.m. today. There were no, I've been informed by the town clerk that there were no petition articles that we received. What we received is a number of requests from departments which are documented here. Some of them were treated as placeholders, carryover items from the April town meeting, some recent discussions that we've had, and also some things that may end up being deleted. So really in a very rough form right now. Typically what we do is after we produce this list is photocopy all of the articles to you, and then give you an opportunity to invite in the proponents and have them make a presentation to the board as to whether you wish to include them or not include them on the warrant. And I would suggest that if you do want to meet with some of these proponents, and I can identify who they are as we go through the list, we perhaps might want to do that at the meeting on September 6th.
All right, let's go through them one by one and just clarify. Obviously, here in Acton reports, that's standard. The FY 2009 budget amendment is for, what are the purposes at this point? That
There's just moving money between one account to the other. I don't have a
this should be on town side, obviously the school doesn't need to do.
Right, there's one thing that we could incorporate within this, and I see it's shown here as a separate item. Item G, transfer or supplement small capital request removed at April town meeting. That doesn't need to stand on its own, that in fact can be incorporated under B, FY 2009 budget amendment, so that's where those items will be restored.
Well, I think of the budget as, although these are small cap, which would have been in the budget, right?
Were in the budget.
Yeah. I guess from a comparison going forward into the next year, it's probably a good thing to keep, put them together. Any thoughts on that? I mean, these are items that would have been in this, this $50,000 that we took out of the school budget that we said we put in the October town meeting. It was about 80,000, although that probably will get adjusted on the town side for a list of things that we took out. Normally would have been in the town budget.
Mr. Chairman, the total that I came up with was, total including the schools that you mentioned, was $99,200.
So the town side has come down
Is included.
considerably.
Yes, what we did was, you'll recall, we funded $70,000 for school textbooks out of free cash, and also $36,000, which was earmarked for a police cruiser that was built into their budget from free cash. So those two items have been removed, bringing us down to 99.2.
And then, as a result of our last financial planning team meeting, we had a long discussion on the cost of fuel and energy, and what the financial planning team was recommending, based on polling the school department and our finance director, was to put $150,000 from free cash into the finance committee reserve fund, but with specifying it is for any overruns in the energy budget, rather than just supplement the current energy budgets. We did this 2 years ago, I believe. Fund the 2008 snow and ice deficit is our deficit is roughly $375,000, which is about double what it was the year before, I believe. Is that correct?
Right. And, it needs to be paid for, obviously, it's going to set our tax rate, so we don't have a choice but to pay.
Yeah, it comes off the recap sheet. No. Transfer to capital stabilization fund, these are the funds that came in over the fiscal year 2008 for the sale of the Berry property and the state 40R funding for the apartments at, I think it was roughly 1.2 mil. And the other was a little over 500,000. 2009 capital improvement program, you're gonna be you've got some list here. We're not gonna talk about this tonight. This was, or are we? This is just so we have.
Early heads up to the number of items that are included. I'll make my presentation to you.
And we talked about G, and move that into B. Create and fund other post-employment
That was,
benefits. What is that?
That was as a result of the GASB 45 study that we had done that looked at the cost of health insurance for our retirees, and that obviously assumes that we are more optimistic about available funds going into town meeting. I would suggest that be removed. It was really a placeholder that I had put in very early in the budget process.
We talked to the financial planning team about that a little bit,
Yes.
too. We talked about establishing it, even if we only put $1 in it, just to
Begin to,
Keep it there?
just to put it, just a suggestion. In other words, the issue isn't going to go away.
Sure.
And at some point, in the not too distant future, it's going to rear its ugly head. And we're going to have to start funding this thing to the tune of millions of dollars. So the further we can get ahead, we can just start, chip away at it, the better off we're going to be. I think we should just somehow or another, personally, just insert it into the budgetary process. And if we can't fund it, we can't fund it, but it's still there every year, staring us in the face. And can't ignore it.
Do you have any idea what our obligation is? If we were, pot of gold fell out of the sky and we were able to fund it?
How big is it?
Yes.
40 million,
Yes.
44 million.
I mean, we had an actuarial study that I'd be happy to pass on to the board. My recollection of Stevens is in excess of $30 million. As of, we had to take a snapshot in time, so as of June 30th, just passed, it's in excess of $30 million is what the total post-employment benefit liability, it's a liability.
That's today, could look forward a little bit.
Right.
That
And
continues
so,
to grow.
any idea, what's the timeline when we would be forced to at least partially fund this?
No, we're only required to report it as part of our audit process, but that's what our liability is. There's no requirement that it be funded.
But it will be
First
a
step,
liability.
the first step was requiring the municipalities to identify the liability and report it, and that just happened recently. So you can anticipate the next step is start funding it.
Good luck.
Start paying for it.
I'm not aware, given the situation, Sean, that it's really possible to provide much in the way of funding.
Yeah.
Just as timeframe is shortened. I can provide you with a copy of the report as with any of the other board members. If you'd like to read through the detail, it's pretty sobering to read about.
On the other hand, I think that creating the fund, and even if, as Steve said, put $1 in it, and start
Visual
to.
aid.
Yeah. Yeah, at least it will be
Make it
forced
as a
to.
marker.
We will, obviously build a presentation around it at town meeting to alert people that this is the study that was done, and this is the liability that the town faces. Although our liability is no different than any other city, they're all in the.
Doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy.
Doesn't-
No.
Everyone's in the same misery I am, so.
Prior year's bills, we had any
I was
biggies?
informed that we have, some small bills. It seems like every year I've been here, they've been through, HR, some small medical bills that need to be paid, but I'm not aware of anything that's large or major at this point.
And the trench safety regulations, more legislation.
This is the item that Copeland and Page informed you of, and the town engineer has actually drafted something. Suggested if you do want to find out more, maybe he be invited in, along with the DPW director to address this matter with the board.
It's gonna be a fee-based,
The town does have the opportunity to charge fees. However, as part of the bylaw that I've seen is actually very brief. It's much briefer than what I thought. I thought you'd have to establish the fees and such in there, and what I've seen, it's not at that level of detail. It basically says that the Board of Selectmen is the trench safety permitting authority, and you have the right to delegate that authority to another municipal department to enforce and establish reasonable rules and regulations associated with it. So, quite broad in terms of its.
And it was kind of quirky because it didn't really require us to do any on-site inspections. It's just to have it in place, require the company that's coming in and digging the trenches, the excavators, to come in and notify us that they're doing it, get a permit, and then we don't have any obligation to check it.
It forces them to.
But, you know, if it caves in, at least they've filed with us, that's a good thing.
It forces them to have
It's really
insurance.
bizarre.
I mean, that's one of the things
Yeah.
that it forces them to do is have insurance. The town has to verify.
But again, the town can take it further, though.
Sure.
And
Oh,
go out and do
absolutely.
inspections and charge a fee and
Absolutely.
make sure that, you know.
this next one is a surprise to me.
This was a proposal that Chief Harris forwarded to me. I would suggest that if you want to find out more, you have an opportunity to invite him in and discuss it with him.
Well, I guess we certainly would have to do that. I'm not in support of even putting it on the warrant, because I can't, we have a hiring freeze in place for this fiscal year, and the hiring of 4 additional firefighters unless there's a return on revenue and a reduction in overtime such that it's cost, cash positive, right? Then why would we be even considering it at October town meeting?
Could I just ask a question on it? Coming off your statement, Bob, did we in fact vote on a hiring freeze? I don't remember doing that. I remember discussion on it, but
We didn't.
I don't remember the
It was-
board.
No,
taking
we
a-
have not.
Oh,
I
okay.
stand corrected. We're in a position where.
Yeah, no, I just thought I might have missed something. I don't remember us
we-
formally.
I think it was just an informal discussion.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So,
I agree, it's premature.
I mean, I'd like to hear a case, you know, I think certainly at any time, the fire chief is certainly welcome to come to the board and come up with an idea where we're gonna save some money.
Right, so
But I haven't heard